Welcome to Crisis in Perception, where we examine the systems shaping our world, one book at a time.
You know that feeling, that sense of constant change, like there's no solid ground in your career, your relationships, or even who you are? Well, it turns out the sociologist Zygmunt Bauman had a powerful diagnosis for exactly this. He argued it's not just a feeling, it's the main feature of our modern world, a world where stability has kind of systematically just melted away.
So who was this guy who gave us such a sharp way to see things? Zygmunt Bauman. He's considered one of the most important sociological thinkers of the 21st century. And his big idea, this concept of liquid modernity, is absolutely essential if you want to make sense of our reality right now.
So what does he mean by that? Well, the key idea is this. Bauman saw our time as being defined by a melting of solids. Just think about all the things that used to anchor people's lives. You know, a job for life, the neighborhood you grew up in and never left, a fixed social class. Bauman argues that all those solid structures have dissolved, leaving us floating in this constant state of flux, or liquidity.
Okay, so to really get a feel for our liquid world, we first have to take a quick look back at the solid world it replaced. In what Bauman called solid modernity, life was just more predictable. You had these fixed paths, a real sense of security. Your identity was kind of like a steel casing. A bit rigid, for sure, but it was protective. Our liquid era, on the other hand, values freedom and flexibility above everything else. So now, our identities feel more like light cloaks. Super easy to change and adapt, yeah, but they offer way less protection from the elements.
So this is the first fundamental pattern, right? We've moved from a world of rigid, reliable structures to one that is totally fluid, mobile, and really unpredictable by its very design. As Bauman puts it, modern life is now all about the constant dismantling of received structures.
Next up, we see the major trade-off we've made. We've given up a huge amount of collective security. Bauman uses a powerful German word for this, citing Freud, Sicherheit. Now, this means more than just safety. It's this deep, deep sense of certainty, the feeling that the world is stable and you can count on it. And in exchange for giving that up, we've gained all this individual freedom, but it comes with a constant nagging feeling of precarity.
And this brings us to the third big shift, and wow, does this one hit home. Our main role in society has shifted from being a citizen, someone with collective duties and a say in public life, to being an individual consumer. In this world of liquid modernity, our power is mostly expressed through choice, the ability to pick and choose, and not just products, but lifestyles, services, even our own identities. That has become the ultimate value. It's the main way we even participate in society anymore.
So what does all this new freedom actually mean for us on the ground? Bauman is really clear about this. He's not passing judgment. He's just describing the core condition of modern life. You know, it's the water we're all swimming in. Okay, you really have to let this quote sink in because it is everything. Big systemic problems, think economic instability or social inequality, they're no longer seen as things we should tackle together as a society. Instead, they get reframed as personal challenges. They become burdens that each one of us is responsible for solving all alone, within our own individual lives.
All right, that's a lot of theory. So to make this idea feel less abstract, let's use a single, powerful metaphor that really gets to the heart of what it feels like to live in these liquid times.
This is it. This is the feeling. Just when you think you finally found some solid footing, the ground moves. That's the daily experience of living in liquid modernity.
The floor shifts, and that whole idea of a predictable, lifelong career just vanishes into thin air. You have to constantly be adapting, reskilling, completely reinventing your professional self just to stay upright.
And the floor shifts here too. The bonds we have with other people become more fluid. They're often treated as temporary connections in a world that gives no long-term guarantees. You know, they're easy to make, and sometimes, with just the press of a button, just as easy to break.
As Bauman points out, in a fluid setting, flexibility is rationality. That thing that made you so valuable yesterday can become totally useless tomorrow. The floor shifts, and the skills you spent years and years building might suddenly be irrelevant.
And here it is, the ultimate consequence of that shifting floor. In liquid modernity, your identity is a project that is never ever done. Self-transformation isn't just a cool option anymore. Bauman says it's become a duty. You are never finished.
So what's the emotional price we pay for living on this constantly shifting floor? Well, this is where Bauman connects his big theory directly to our everyday lives, to how we feel.
And this is maybe the most crucial takeaway of all. Bauman's work lets us reframe our personal struggles.
That nagging anxiety, that feeling of never being good enough, of being insecure, it isn't necessarily a personal failing. It's a systemic feature. It's a natural response to a world that demands constant, exhausting, and lonely individual adaptation.
And that leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. If these problems are, as Bauman argues, socially produced, can they truly be solved with purely individual solutions? Or does that just keep us all scrambling on a floor that's never ever going to stop shifting? For the full, long-form deep dive into this book and its ideas, follow the link in the description. If you enjoy this kind of systems-level analysis, please like, subscribe, and comment with books or topics you'd like us to explore next.